Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. We haven't changed much. We're still the same old Trekyards we always used to
Well, I think we do evolve somewhat with the time, Stuart, although still with mostly the classic look, because we know who we are deep down in all of our gooey
Well,
jelly.
But we have evolved, you could say.
I think,
It's fair to say. We just stepped into that next evolution of Trekyards not that long ago.
but we're no bloody A, B, C, or D.
Something like that.
Stuart!
We're here today to talk about...
We got the answer.
Yes, we did. The updated Changelings. I love how they address. Is it a subspecies? Is it something different? No.
No.
Spoilers.
Yes.
It's evolution.
I've been saying this since the first time they appeared with the shock twist, that they looked a bit off. And many people said to us, shush guys, it's modern technology. If they would have done it then, if they were doing it then now, it'd look like this. And we said, well, that kind of is sad for the people who made the original effect, as if their work is meaningless and their art direction was wrong, as if it wasn't intentional to do it that way, and to undo it is a bit harsh. There's probably a reason why it's different. They wouldn't just throw that under the bus given all the other stuff they respected. And fans said, no, guys, you're wrong. We said, no. We didn't know the answer. But we said, Terry's smart, Dave's smart, the team is smart. All you have to do is give us a reason. So yeah, break down the scene and break down what they said in more detail.
They did an autopsy, essentially. And she even made the point, they usually revert to their liquid form or when they die. What's going on here? So they break it down. And once you get it's down to replicating organs and blood, but with no DNA signatures, which is interesting. But once you pull the organs out and you start dissecting them into smaller pieces, then they break down. So this is literally the next evolution of the changelings to be more capable to integrate and become much more like what they're actually replicating. So interesting vibe. I don't know how it happened, but here we are.
Yeah, it was really, I thought, handled well and given the time it needed. And Picard's 1 and 2 have had a bit of gruesomeness that felt out of place. And yet, for some reason, seeing a literal organ being scalpeled in front of us felt appropriate. How context matters,
Context is king. It would be interesting if this did involve the brain bugs. Like the brain bugs, met up with the changelings and went, hey, let's work together because, we both have the same goal.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, that would be actually fantastic. Because Terry has said, I didn't use the brain bugs for whatever reason. It could be that it's a red herring and they actually have to time both together. I would like that, actually. I don't know if that's the case, but that's my speculation right now. That would be cool.
Now, there's all of the caveats on this, which is great. These aren't the changelings. They aren't the Dominion. They're a rogue group, which lets you do whatever you want with them, really. But you would think, based on the previous years, that the changelings were explicitly a race that hated organic life. They wanted control. They were attacked and feared. So if they control everything, they'll never be attacked. Okay, I get it. And they are really just one giant entity of goo that lives on a planet. And if they must interact with people, they corporealize into a form, which aren't necessarily real individuals, but they sort of are, but they sort of aren't. It's all one and all in one, right? These creatures, to actively alter your DNA and your genetics to become this, with all the downfalls I'm sure that happens, I mean, that's them giving up who they are and what they are as an original changeling. So the mission they're doing is the entire importance. That's what was interesting here. They radically changed what they are. I would not assume they could go back. So now I doubt they could become a bird or a smoke cloud or even necessarily push their arm into a giant stabby thing and T1000 it, which we've seen other changelings do, because they're not that flexible. They are organic matter now. It's all combined into this new entity. Means they can do this one thing much better, but everything else becomes less useful. Hell of a loss, really. So evolution in one way only: infiltration.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Because Odo could turn into fog. He could turn into mist. That's kind of what the changelings could do, and it doesn't seem like these could anymore. Even down to the blob effect. The blob effect now is literally just blobified meat. Like that's how much they've evolved. That they can replicate organs and things now, but at what cost? So yeah, that's interesting.
Because yes, yes, that other changeling went through a vent as a sludgy mess, but the changeling goo can be infinitely thin. It had a vibe of it can become, and as it had fog. So this goo, it feels so. That's the limit of what they can be. This gooey mess. That is the absolute epitome, or a human, etc. And if you look, they had a wonderful shot of a transition between two actors, which I almost flawless, I would say. They picked actors that had similar builds, obviously, which kind of helps. Really, really helps. But to see that, I mean, it's T-1000 and all the Terminators kind of did it incredibly well anyway. So to do the exact same thing but not is a hell of a thing. What did you think? And now you're seeing it sort of all the three steps.
I was a little bit like, it's not as impressive as it used to be. Just the shimmering effect I preferred, but it's more of a horror vibe to it, honestly, like body horror. I'd be happier if this was like a comaloid or something that's a little bit different, like a shapeshifter, but can only change from one humanoid to form to another and no liquid state. I know that these guys still have to revert to their liquid state, at least that's implied. And the whole Bjorn bucket thing that everybody's freaking out about, Terry has said that will be explained about that particular changeling, why they have one in like a comic or something like that. So those questions will be answered. They've taken care of that for that one changeling. But what do the other ones do while they're on the ship? Because it's kind of implied that they all have to revert back to their liquid form at some point. So where do they do it? It seems so odd to me, but at the same time, it all kind of makes sense. And this is the split away faction from the Great Link. We should point out as well. So
yeah, I said that earlier. It's great because it just feels less in a good way. It doesn't feel alien. It feels like just an organic morphing into another organic.
It sounds like a trade-off for sure. And again, if that tied into the brain bugs, that this was they some kind of incorporated their DNA into the changelings. Interesting, but yeah, it is a trade-off for these changelings because they can't literally become fog or smoke.
And we don't know for sure, but the suppositions here.
It's true.
But I like how clearly in the middle shot, even the comm badges being morphed into place. So it was, it's all fake. They are just puddles. They can do all that other stuff. We had a debate the other day of, is a comm badge a real comm badge? Can it work? Don't know how it could as a changeling, but sometimes maybe, yes. It's a bit of an explanation. But it's, yeah, like I say, for me, it's a really good effect in that it just feels less, in the best possible way, limited. They're just morphing their organic structure versus really shifting. I know what I mean. I think the audience does too. It works well. And you can have both. I would not be surprised if we see one changeling by the end of the season who's a very faithful version to kind of take them home and say, oh, thanks for catching them. Should be a hell of a payoff to see maybe a shot at DS9 at the end of the season and the wormhole open and a changeling come in and it's a female-esque changeling and they're like, sorry about this. And Picard's like, yes, please don't let this happen again. Like, well, are young gonna go do things,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good payoff, actually.
Because then you have that lovely contrast factor. But the double interesting thing, though, is that there were so many of them. Because we were asking the question of Vatic being the only one. Does a hand mean a thing? Is it a real hand? Is it not? Is a crew really changing? Is it not? Why are they in their ship? Why are they wearing sort of suits? Is the one guy? Why is he there? But to have 4 on one ship...
When they had 4 total on Earth originally or something like that.
Yep. And we only meet 7 changelings over the course of all of DS9.
Yeah.
We meet more Weyoungs. Different Weyoungs we do changelings. But we meet a lot of Weyoungs. And they had
funny in and of itself, yeah.
And they had no personality. They felt like the foot soldiers of a T-1000. Which is good. Again, how many factions, how many people came over. It added a surprise amount of depth by being less. As I said, it tells you more. This is not how these changelings would have moved back in the day, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were right. It wasn't just an updated visual effect. It was part of an evolution, which is interesting. Anyway, comment down below what you thought about this reveal and anything you want to expound on that we talked about, please comment down below, or anything we missed also. And if you want to join us for lives where you can chime in instantly when we miss something or want to get your voice heard, please do so. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss those lives, because we do them all the time.
And while you're here, you can super chat on any of our videos. That's any amount of money to say anything you want. Basically, supports the channel and has your voice heard. Also, thanks on any of our videos, literally any of them from the last almost decade. Holy moly. Or shirts, links down below. Or join the channel. It's monthly. Patreon monthly. Any great ways. And all of them if you feel very generous.
That's right. So, until next time, we don't want you to change much. Just be you. And in the meantime, we'll still be us, which is Commander Cockings.
And Captain Foley, probably. Bye, guys.
Bye.